Welcome back, everybody. Today's deep dive is all about pregnancy, motherhood, and how strong women are throughout history. We're taking a look at a blog post today. It's called Honoring the Strength of Mothers with My New Pregnancy Journey. It's by Lunarize.
It's interesting because she's not just talking about motherhood like it's some big idea. She's sharing her own experiences with pregnancy, the good and the bad.
Yeah, this is her second pregnancy. And while she's happy about having another child, she's also honest about how nerve-wracking it can be.
That's totally normal for expectant parents, that mix of feeling overjoyed about the baby and worried about everything, like, will morning sickness be bad? What will labor be like? All of it.
She even talks about laying awake at night, worrying if everything will go okay and how she'll handle a newborn. I think we've all felt that as parents or even watching friends and family go through it.
Absolutely. What makes Lunarize's story even more interesting is that she's dealing with something unexpected this time: sciatica pain.
Oh, for people who haven't gone through that, what exactly is sciatica? How does it affect someone like Lunarize?
So sciatica happens when the sciatic nerve gets irritated or compressed, and that nerve runs from your lower back all the way down your legs. Lunarize gets these really sharp pains that shoot down her leg. It makes it super hard to move around and do normal stuff. Can you imagine having to chase a toddler with that kind of pain?
Ouch, that sounds rough, especially while pregnant. It's pretty incredible how Lunarize manages, though, and she even talks about the good things, like how much physical therapy and acupuncture help her.
It's fascinating how she describes them. Physical therapy with its special exercises helps her move better and manage the pain. Acupuncture, she thinks, balances her body's energy, and stimulating certain points helps with the discomfort. So it's not about ignoring the pain, it's about getting to the root of the problem.
And she mentions prenatal massage, which has got to be amazing for relaxing and de-stressing. It's great she has these resources and professionals to help her. Makes you think about women in the past, before we had all this. How did they deal with these pregnancy problems?
And Lunarize asks that exact question in her blog. She talks about how women back then went through pregnancy and childbirth without epidurals, massages, or even basic pain meds.
It's crazy when you really think about it. Lunarize mentions women having tons of kids, like 10 or more, and no help from doctors like we have now, no pain relief during birth, not even formula to help with feeding. It just boggles the mind. How did they do it?
It's hard to imagine that level of strength nowadays, right? And it's that strength, that legacy from all the mothers throughout history that Lunarize feels connected to during her difficult pregnancy.
It's like their strength is reaching through time, telling her she can do this too. But it's not all about physical toughness, is it? It's got to be something deeper, a mental and emotional toughness that mothers seem to have.
You're right on the money. It's like facing the unknown head-on, knowing you have to bring a new life into the world. Lunarize seems to think this inner strength isn't something you're just born with. It gets passed down from mothers to their daughters. It's a powerful thought.
So, does this connection to strong mothers of the past freak Lunarize out, knowing how hard it was for them? Or does it actually make her feel stronger?
You know, it's actually the opposite. Thinking about what those mothers went through makes Lunarize feel super grateful. She's grateful for the good medical care she has, her supportive partner, and her friends and family.
Stuff we take for granted, right? Thinking about women giving birth with no pain relief or modern medicine really puts things into perspective.
Exactly. It's not just the medical stuff either. It's the emotional and social support we have now. Lunarize is really grateful for her partner who helps with chores and childcare, and her friends who are there to listen when she needs to vent.
Those things might seem small, but they make a huge difference, especially during tough times.
Yeah.
Really proves that it takes a village.
And I think that's Lunarize's main point. By being thankful for what she has and the women who came before her, she's saying how important it is to create a good support system for mothers today. We can learn from the struggles of mothers in the past without having to go through the same things.
So we shouldn't just think about how tough those mothers were. We should focus on making things better for mothers now, right? Make sure they have what they need to not just get by, but to really thrive.
Absolutely. Motherhood is hard, but it's also incredibly rewarding. We can all do our part to make it a little easier for the moms in our lives.
Lunarize's view on it all is really refreshing. She doesn't try to hide the hard parts of pregnancy and being a mom. She's honest about how much pain she's in, both physically and emotionally, but she doesn't let it take over.
And it's really something how she finds a connection to mothers in the past because of her pain. She says the sciatica, though super annoying, reminds her she's not alone. Women have been dealing with this forever.
It's like finding comfort in a shared experience, realizing that even though it's tough, you're not alone in it.
Exactly. It makes you think that even with all the progress we've made, some parts of being human are just universal. The joy of a new baby, the challenges of raising a kid, and the connection between mothers throughout time.
It's a powerful message that resonates with anyone who's experienced motherhood. So how does Lunarize wrap up her blog? Is she hopeful or does she focus on the tough stuff?
She definitely ends on a hopeful note, looking forward to her baby. She knows there will be challenges, but she's leaning into the love she feels, the excitement of a bigger family, and that connection to strong mothers from the past.
It reminds us that even when things are hard, there's always hope. But I'm curious, how does she balance the pain she's going through with that hope and excitement? Does she just ignore the pain or does she somehow make it part of the whole experience?
That's a great question, and it gets to one of the deepest points Lunarize makes. But let's think about what we've learned so far. Lunarize has taken us on a journey through the highs and lows of pregnancy. From those early anxieties to sciatica pain to the amazing connection she feels with mothers throughout history, it really highlights that being a mom is more than just biology. It's a deep human experience that goes beyond time and culture.
It also shows us that we all have a part to play in supporting moms, whether it's listening, helping out, or speaking up for policies that make things easier for them. We can all do something.
With that in mind, let's jump back into Lunarize's blog and see what she says about finding meaning and purpose in the middle of pain.
I'm ready. So we were just talking about how Lunarize feels this connection to the strong mothers of the past and how it actually makes her feel stronger too.
Yeah, it's like tapping into this well of strength and wisdom.
Totally. But I'm still curious, knowing what women went through back then, does that make Lunarize more worried about her own pregnancy? Or is it the opposite?
It's really interesting. It's actually the opposite. Thinking about those women makes her incredibly grateful for the medical care she has, her partner, her friends and family.
Things we totally take for granted, right? Compared to women who had babies without pain relief or modern medicine, it puts things in perspective.
Exactly. And it's not just about medicine. It's the emotional and social support we have now. Lunarize talks about how grateful she is for her partner. He helps with chores, takes care of their other child, and she's thankful for her friends who listen when she needs to talk.
Yeah, those things make a world of difference, especially when things are tough. Like you said, it takes a village.
And I think that's what Lunarize is getting at in her blog. By recognizing what she has and remembering the women who came before her, she's saying how important it is to support mothers today. We can learn from their strength, but we don't have to go through the same hardships.
Right, so instead of just thinking about how strong those mothers were, we should make things better for moms now. Make sure they have the support they need to not just survive, but really thrive.
Exactly. Motherhood is challenging, but it's also so rewarding, and we can all do our part to make it easier for the mothers in our lives.
It's so cool how Lunarize looks at it all. She's really honest about the hard parts of pregnancy and being a mom, about the pain she's in physically and emotionally, but she doesn't let it get her down.
And what's really amazing is that she finds a connection to mothers of the past through her pain. She says the sciatica, as frustrating as it is, reminds her that she's not the only one who's gone through this. Women have been dealing with this for centuries.
It's like a weird kind of comfort, like realizing that even though it's hard, you're not alone in it.
That's it. It reminds us that even with all the progress we've made, some things about being human are universal. The joy of having a baby, the challenges of raising them, the connection between mothers throughout time.
It's a message that I think anyone who's been touched by motherhood can relate to. So how does Lunarize end her blog post? Does she leave us feeling hopeful or does she focus on all the difficulties?
She definitely ends on a note of hope and excitement. She knows pregnancy is tough, but she focuses on the good stuff, the love for her baby, how exciting it is to have another child, and that deep connection to the strength of mothers throughout history.
It's a good reminder that even when things are difficult, there's always hope to be found. But how does she connect the pain she's going through with that hope? Does she ignore it, or does she find a way to make it part of the experience?
That's a fantastic question, and it leads to one of the most insightful parts of Lunarize's post. But before we get into that, let's think about what we've talked about so far. We've gone on this journey with Lunarize, exploring motherhood. From the excitement and worry of early pregnancy to the challenges of sciatica and the amazing connection she feels to mothers in the past, it really shows us that motherhood isn't just a physical thing, it's a deeply human experience that connects us all.
It also makes us think about how we can support mothers, whether it's listening, helping out, or fighting for policies that make their lives a little easier. We can all do our part.
Right. And now let's get back to Lunarize's blog and talk about how she finds meaning and purpose even when she's in pain.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, so we were about to find out how Lena Rise puts it all together, how she finds meaning in the midst of all this.
Well, this is where it gets really deep. Lunarize doesn't see the pain just as something to get rid of or just tough out. She embraces it. She sees it as a way of connecting with the strength that mothers have always had.
So it's not just knowing other women have gone through this, but finding something meaningful in the pain itself.
You got it. She writes about how the sciatica pain, as awful as it is, actually reminds her of how strong she is. It's like a direct link to all those mothers in the past, the ones who had babies without modern medicine or any real comfort.
So she's saying the pain, in a way, makes her appreciate motherhood more. It's not that she likes suffering, but she sees it as a part of being a woman, of the whole experience.
Exactly. And it's not just about the past either. By going through this, Lunarize recognizes the strength of mothers today too, the ones dealing with their own problems, whether it's physical, emotional, or the pressures of society. It reminds us we're all in this together.
I love that, taking something that could be so negative and turning it into something powerful. It shows us that we can find strength, even in the tough times. So how does all this change how she feels about being pregnant?
It makes her feel really grateful and excited. She says the pain, while it's not fun, has actually made her appreciate the miracle of life growing inside her even more. She's grateful for every little movement, every sign that the baby is doing okay, even while dealing with the sciatica.
It's like the pain is a small price to pay for the joy of having a baby. The whole journey, even with the ups and downs, is beautiful and changes you.
And that's how Lunarize ends her blog post. She talks about looking forward to the baby, knowing it won't be easy. But she's ready, filled with hope and love, and that strength she's found within herself.
What an amazing and inspiring story. She takes us on this journey of self-discovery. She connects her own experience with what mothers have always gone through. Really powerful.
It reminds us that even with all the progress we've made, motherhood is still motherhood. It's a story of resilience, of love, and the incredible human spirit.
As we wrap up this deep dive, what are the big takeaways for our listeners? What can we learn from Lunarize, and how can we apply it to our own lives?
I think Lunarize teaches us a few important things. First, to recognize and appreciate the strength of mothers, all mothers, from the past and present. Let's celebrate them, their sacrifices, and their incredible dedication to their families.
And let's not forget to support them, whether it's helping out, listening, or just saying something encouraging. Every bit helps. We can all work together to make things better for mothers.
Absolutely. Lunarize also shows us that we can find meaning even when things are hard. Even in the middle of pain, we can discover how strong we really are.
And finally, let's embrace the journey, bumps and all. Life is full of surprises, good and bad. It's how we handle those surprises that makes us who we are. Lunarize shows us how powerful it can be to embrace the unknown, find strength when we least expect it, and come out of it all appreciating life even more.
Well said. It's been incredible to explore Lunarize's journey, and I think her story will stick with us all.
Thanks so much for helping us break it all down. It's been really insightful, and I have a feeling we'll all be thinking about Lunarize's story for a while.
I agree. It's a reminder that even in a world that can feel divided, there are still stories that bring us together, inspire us, and remind us of how amazing and strong humans can be.
And to all our listeners, keep exploring these ideas. Think about the strong mothers in your lives and find ways to support and celebrate them. Until next time, keep diving deep.